do what we must.
Learn from your mistakes.
Who dares defy my will?
We are back with the Berkeley Legends Spring 2019 5v5 tournament, getting into the second round of Swiss with this winners matchup. And I forget the names of the actual teams.
One is the
But
Purple Man.
They both won. I think it's Team Purple Men, and then we'll have to get the name of the other one in the bracket. I feel bad. We can do that during the 3 minutes. Go through the draft.
Yeah.
But should be an exciting matchup. And already we see a lot of jungle bands coming out.
Yes, especially like with Zach and Jarvan, since they just recently buffed Cinder Hulk. I think, especially for Jarvan is a big playmaker, and banning him out could be targeting the jungle pool.
Yeah, I don't really think it's a big Exu pick. I don't think he's a big Jarvan player, but you know, I think the Zac is definitely targeted towards Kabak. He likes to have more impact. And actually a Pike ban coming out here. I think that's towards Flyer. Like some of those more aggressive supports. Interestingly, Gangplank is still up for Legend Achiever.
Rek'Sai first pick. That's somewhat expected as currently in the meta. Rek'Sai is quite a strong duelist and early ganker.
Yeah, we have to notice that Riven ban here, actually coming out from the Purple Men means they can't take that for the jungle, and that's basically one of the few matchups you can actually have that will outpressure the Rek'Sai early just by the 1v1 dueling presence. But looks like we'll be an early Thresh going down for Rhetoric, and they're not going to pick a Mumu. But I am curious to see what sort of jungle they go with to contest that. Oh, Kai'Sa. So they take their bot lane early. Pretty strong lane presence there.
Especially if Thresh can land his hook. Though, if I remember correctly, Morgana is a pretty strong counter to Thresh.
Yeah, Morgana is up. Flyer does play it as well, so I think wouldn't be surprised to see that come up. Some interesting commentary there from the boys in the back. But yeah, there is the Morgana.
There's the Morgana I expected.
Wow, so this lane is basically saying we're going to wave clear and we're not going to let you hit those hooks on us. That is very frustrating for a Thresh, but a
Kindred with Conquer actually right now is pretty strong as well.
Ooh, interesting. XU hasn't played too much Kindred in the past, but it looks like they've been practicing it for this tournament here. And I'll have to see if Janna Kindred will actually play Zillion here, or if they'll just ban it out of fear of that combo, because that's a very, very deadly.
That's a very strong dive in, come out, winning team fight. Even
you have the Lamb's Respite, you have the Chrono Shift, and it's just incredibly annoying to deal with because you have these carries that just have multiple lives and are just putting a lot of constant DPS out onto your front line. And it's just really hard to deal with, especially that we'll have to see what comes through for these solo lanes, because right now they're all hidden. And that can really change the pace of the game.
I'll come back.
There is the GP ban. Not going to let Legend Shearer have that one. It is one of his more favorite picks,
powerful
but
picks.
Not going to get it. Kled banned from Agor there. A little bit more of a power pick. Don't want to have to deal with that lane matchup, but we'll see if they. So far, no actual mid lane bans. I'm really curious. I don't know how these players play Zoe, but I think it's a really strong pick that's still up.
Zoe would be a strong pick for, I believe, the blue side, because for the red team, they'll be playing against Morgana, who can shield most of your Zoe damage, or your Sleepy Trouble Bubble as well. But I really like the Kindred, because Kindred you can either go the on-hit build, like Black Cleaver, Tanky, Borg, to shred tanks, or if the enemy team comps really squishy, you can go into crit and basically have a second ADC on your team for team fights.
Yeah, I would expect the Warrior Cleaver, the Vladimir pick. That is actually a flex. I think either of them can play that. And I think it's very strong right now. It's going to be really hard to actually kill him with the Kindred. Zillion open, I don't think they're going to pick it, but that Jace, no. I think Jace is actually really strong right now.
Jace is strong early. I think they want to get early pressure.
I think
especially
they're just
with
cycling
Lisa.
through. I really doubt they lock in Pantheon. LeBlanc comes in.
LeBlanc, that's a skill matchup right there. Good safe blind pick.
Yeah, we'll see if they flex the Vlad to the top lane and then try to pick something else for that, or if they're just fine taking the mid matchup. Generally, you do see Vlad top more than mid. Legend Cheever does play quite a bit of Vlad, and let's see what they're going to round out with, because they will get this red side counter pick, and it looks like it's going to be a Maokai for a front line.
I haven't seen much Maokai in ranked these days. So.
Yeah, I feel like, I guess like a Poppy or a Scion are more common frontliners, but I think Angor's more comfortable with Maokai. And the Ari coming in, so that is going to be an interesting mid matchup right there.
I think, but with Maokai and Rek'Sai, I think you have a really good engage for those team fights. You can get in, survive, and then push them towards your team so that you can have your Sivir just bouncing your blades
Yeah,
around.
you do have the Maokai will actually be able to provide a little bit more engage. Without the Maokai, you rely on the Sivir to just run them down or get a pick with the binding. For the red team, though, they're going to rely really heavily on the Thresh or Ahri for picks, because otherwise they have no way of actually initiating fights. But they do have...
Unless you have Kindred jump in.
I mean, if Kindred's jumping in as you're engaged,
That is a big risk there.
It's very easy for her to eat a binding, and she has to throw down the ult immediately in that case, or she'll just get killed in a single knockout from the Rek'Sai.
That's
But
right.
yeah, we look at these lane matchups. I mean, it does look like the red side has. I kind of like the way they've, sort of drafted the comp. I feel like Kai'Sa Thresh is going to have a lot of pressure on the Sivir Morgana. They have to deal with like a lot of the shove, but they're going to have a lot of kill threat, a lot of gank assist for the Kindred. You can lantern her in.
Lantern in.
It will be very hard to hit the hooks, so it'll be depending on if they get the spell shields out. But yeah, then we look at the mid lane. That is, I think, a pretty big skill matchup. Ahri LeBlanc, very solo queue-esque. I think basically whoever plays it better will end up
Whoever plays it better, yep.
end up winning. And I feel like these players will try to create a lot of solo advantages against each other. Might play a little aggro. I would expect to see a lot of junglers playing around their mid sides.
Though I
So
think
gotta see a lot from the Rek'Sai early, because she'll get outscaled hard by the Kindred.
Yes.
I think a little bit of a concern is the top lane as well. If we look at the Maokai and the Vladimir, I mean, Vlad early, not going to really be doing too much, but it's going to be hard for the Maokai to actually
Yeah.
pressure him off and just stop him from farming.
yeah, especially towards the late game, Vladimir skills really well. And blue side seems to have a drafted kind of team fighting comp in a sense with the Maokai and Sivir.
Yeah, they're going to rely a lot on the Sivir for their
Yeah.
DPS.
But if Vlad gets in there, puts down his ulti, he just runs through the back line while letting the Kindred and Kai'Sa just do the front to back, then that's a pretty bad disaster for blue team.
Yeah, it's a very squishy comp on the red side. We're going to have to look a lot to, I think, these top laners, because they will be the main front lines for their team. But yeah, if the Vladimir starts to fall behind, there's actually no one on the red side who's going to be able to stand up to the LeBlanc burst. Like, LeBlanc can actually burst at anyone. It's going to be up to Exu on those Kindred ultimates to keep his team alive, stay away from those bursts, as well as on the Vladimir to zone off that Sivir. If Sivir is able to stand in range to get those ricochets across the entire team, there's so many squishy targets. It's gonna be a lot of AoE DPS.
Especially with Morgana Black Shield, that means Sivir has a lot more freedom. Like that means you don't really have to worry about an RE charm or a Thresh hook coming at you during those team fights. Something less to worry about. Just focus more on pumping out that DPS.
Yeah, it is going to be really hard for the the Sivir will have a lot of protection. She's a Maokai. She has Morgana, and she has her own spell shield. And she's going to be relying a lot on her team to keep her safe, and they're going to in turn rely on her to get to the point where she can carry this game. Because again, if the Sivir doesn't get to the point where it can do a lot of DPS, you have a LeBlanc, Rek'Sai, and a Maokai. That's not exactly high damage output. Like, it's very possible this Vlad gets to a point where just no one on the other team can deal with him. There's just not enough sustained damage to take him out.
Yeah. Though if LeBlanc gets a couple good picks, if red side doesn't ward the jungle and LeBlanc hops over the wall, she might be able to maybe one-shot Kai'Sa, or at least force her to back off or heal. And though once again with red side, you have kind of two damage dealers in Kindred and Kai'Sa, as well as Vlad for that more end game, getting the backline damage.
Yeah, I think it's very reasonable. It gets to a point where LeBlanc can W over a wall, throw down one spell combo, and force out the Kindred ultimate, and then all of a sudden a lot of the tools the red team's working with are a lot riskier, because that's basically their one defensive ability for everyone who's not Vlad. But yeah, I think there's also a lot of pressure on the junglers here, especially the Rek'Sai. Early game jungler is going to have to create a lot of early pressure, or I think this comp's just going to fall off really hard. I'm actually going to check to make sure I know what both of the team names are. So want to give justice to both Team Purple Men and their opponents.
Seconds until minions spawn.
Is Kingslayers. So we are into the first game, and
Looks like
it's pretty standard stars. 5 points coming across. Looking at the starting items, nothing too interesting there. Pretty standard. Keystone choices can look pretty normal, and object is Glacial Augment on Ari.
Apparently, that's very good. I personally, as I play Ari, I don't feel that I like that, but especially in the team fights, you can cover with a GLP, you can cover basically the whole mid lane or river zone with your slow fields, makes it much easier for thresh hooks and just for you to chase them.
It also has a tool that you can burn Sivir. Very critical.
That is also with burn Sivir, so
You really don't want to be using your spell kill around when there's so killing abilities. Yeah, so another thing with the Kindred. There's another thing about this team from Red Side is the Sivir is really safe for fix, but she's a short range carry, and Kaisa and Vlad Kindred can do a ton of damage to her if they're actually in range. So she will rely a lot on the front line. The spell shield is not going to save her if the rest of her team is strong enough. Because she can hit the front line and do a lot of damage. There isn't also a lot of fun manage more just some aggressive trades, but they're not going to be being too hard on it. You see like Colin getting so much better.
and we see Kindred and Pro Mark on Red side, both of them starting red. And unluckily for Red side, Kindred's first mark is top side. Though blue team has ordered both rivers, so they know that Kindred is top side defender.
Does land, big old trade. Ooh. Boomerang Blade. It's gonna hurt if you rack it too many of those, but Kaisa does have the fleet footwork, and he's gonna have really more suspense in this one. Yeah, so far, like a little bit of a pretty even. We do have actually a pretty decent advantage for Legend Achiever on the Vlad and the top lane, and that's something to watch for as if that continues to grow. Because that will be really rough if the Vladimir is winning early.
Yes.
See the junglers both on. They're going for the vertical, both on and we're on spear. We'll see if they have to threaten top lane action. Okay, really sharp. I don't think there's such an emphasis for Vlad to actually pressure anything here. He doesn't really want
Malachi is playing a bit, might be a bit too safe, but for Vlad, I think Vlad's gonna like this lane. Gang, he's gonna get CS, he's gonna arm up, and he just gets stronger.
Yeah, the vertical is really nice binding there.
Ooh, and a double. That's something.
Yeah, you gotta be really careful for your blind block. Aiden's going in for the trade. Not sure really win that one too bad.
That was a good pull.
Does regen up a little bit of the passive, but early game coming in. Get a Kendrick chain lane forced to flash. And there's a quick summonery there from Kavaka. So honestly pretty good mid game. Just gonna make that already really vulnerable and still she hits 6. No flash against the Rex side of the block. It's really easy to force things. The Legend Achiever is actually just shoving this top so hard.
Second Kindred mark on the ground.
The hook lands on a Sivir. Hook lands the White Secret here. Just gonna be a short brand. Black Shield does come out. Kill shots miss and pretty quick disengage. But almost smash there.
That was a good Black Shield kill. Preventing the flight backwards.
Legend Achiever going in, not gonna get too off. Yeah, ideally you want a Black Shield to hook itself, honestly, in terms of this like early trade, what's the likely result of the follow-up damage. April going in, has the aftershock up, actually not too badly in that trade, but doesn't really get too much from it.
And Vlad's is going to heal it back up. He has one shield, which doesn't heal that, as well as his Q.
It's a really tough one to not get a deal with. They're going to try to lantern bait them, but I think the ward.
Yeah, there's a ward right there.
I think they'd have to assume Kindred is coming from basically as well, which they know is down. So I think we'll probably call Kindred as top and fighting that one. Yeah, Aor's not going to go by the time. Chain's not going to land. You got Kindred looking to go. Doesn't. Hits the charm. Throws down their Q damage, forced to flash. Here comes Exu. They're not going to be able to finish that kill out.
Both mid laners without flash now, I believe.
Yeah, I feel like LeBlanc needs to just flash that another binding hit. Blanchard's gonna come down, gonna keep breathing safe, but he is
spot out Rex.
Well, the smite it does go to Exu, he takes the mark with it. Flip going wide, but and smite fight going to Exu is really important for the Kindred. There's that mark, he gets the crowd control. It's really just unfortunate for the Rek'Sai play right there. Really want to get those. We're seeing a lot of CS coming out basically for the red team here. Well, actually, the top lane and in the jungle, they have these leads. Anyway, but the bot lane is the only basic concern. The early vertical made them lose a lot of pressure there, having the enemy jungler on their side of the map. And the Sivir shove, alongside a couple of unfortunate ward bindings, have made life a little difficult. But not too big of a discrepancy. They haven't actually left. But if you actually look at the invade onto Rocket, Midlander isn't here. I think he's going to have to jump back against the wall.
Block has priority, but you don't want to die.
Well, he's actually going for more, getting distort over the walls. He has to level up, hits the chain. Here comes Aegor. Actually, he was a little out of position here. Kabaka's coming in, but he's rolling down the Maokai ult. He's trying to chase down one more kill. He's going to get rooted up, knocked back in. First blood for Kabaka. Kingslayers take it. Actually, a little out of position there.
Very nice job from Purple Man. Not Purple Man, sorry.
Team Kingslayer.
Team Kingslayer.
Yeah.
Yes, Exi.
Exi, a little bit of a questionable invade there. Doesn't have his mid laner and gets a blast gun. And, you know, Vladimir was pressuring early, but Malka has a blast gun. Just walk down around, jump over. And your mid laner's not there. Top into Vladimir, but they're looking for Janet Kendrick. He's not going to be able to solve it. The chain comes down. He's going in the direction. Kabaka gets knocked up, and Ignited just gets blown up. That was a really interesting decision there.
He missed just charge.
Saw glory in his eyes, but I mean, you jump into the melee range of the Rek'Sai and you just get knocked out. And as soon as that happens, you're not going to be making
I think he
plays out
believed
there.
he could have charmed Rek'Sai before she got her knockout, but sadly, charm missed Rek'Sai. Rek'Sai just got him knockout and chain combo her down.
Yeah, I mean, that's just really greedy to go for it. I mean, oh, the nice hook to the minions, but the Black Shield's going to come out and the Black Shield's they're going in. The Ignite comes down. He does a very low flashes forward and lands the Q on him, but Aegor on the top side going to get dropped. So a trade of kills. AD Carry gets taken down in the 2v2, but Exu's gang is able to take one as well.
Very good, especially after what happened in the blue side jungle. Exi managed to get the kill back. I don't believe that was a mark, if I'm correct.
I'm not sure who he has the mark on. I don't believe it was. I think he only has the 200 grabs, but yeah, it's very good for the Purpleman here. Lost couple kills early, but just gets them right back. Really good play from the bot lane, actually. They were behind that lane, but a good hook.
Good hook.
Little late on the Black Shield. I think D Chosen thought he was behind minions, but he wasn't going to hit him because he did not use the spell shield there. I wasn't sure if it was down earlier. But yeah, another good play on the top side. And I mean, this top lane is actually looking really good here for Pearlman. Legend Achiever's up 30 CS, 8 minutes as a Black. I mean, he's only going to get stronger.
Yeah, and there's not really much that Maokai can do. Maokai does have his ulti as that first jungle fight. Come down river, you can prevent the Kindred from escaping, but that doesn't matter if you're going to die and your team can't fall up on your engage.
I mean, he's got Megatron close, but if Kindred keeps coming back there, he's actually got nothing to protect himself. Kabaka looks good again. Flashes into the charm! Forces the flash from Kindred, he's going to get out. But that was almost disaster for the mid laner, but that was actually really good charm, predicts the flash, and stops the knockout from going down. Has to use his own, but trading your flash for flash isn't the worst thing. Actually, just going to go on to his blue. Getting cleaned out by the enemy jungler. Kabaka might look for this. Bot is shoving in.
So, red side does have much more movement. Looking at the blue side bot jungle, you can see that the wards placed along possible red side ganking path, but we've seen this red side's actually pretty good. Going straight from the river. You have no clue where to step.
He thinks he can win this trade. He actually is doing quite a lot of damage with the bot lane. A nice root does hit up and forces a flash actually on a Legend Achiever in the top lane, right at the ultimate. And yeah, good binding actually there from Flyer to disengage that fight. But yeah, Vlad's going to be sustaining back up. Aegor's going in, but he gets the heal flank, and he realizes this is not a fight he wants to take. That's going to be a lot of healing back onto the Vlad. But actually, the trade's going pretty well for the Maokai, given how far behind he is. The Negatron close is doing a lot of work. But I mean, Legend Cheater's just going to do sustaining back up. There's no boost to stop that.
Though, Legend Cheater having walked into the bushes where we see that Maokai saplings. And once again, with Maokai saplings in bush, you deal basically twice the damage. And that burn has been doing at least some sort of damage towards Legend Cheater.
Yeah, he's going to back off. He's going to finish that Proto Belt, and he's gonna, life's going to get a lot more sad for Maokai. But, you know, we look, blue side, you know, they Kingslayers bot lane had a little bit of an unfortunate 2-2 earlier, but they're still up in CS. Mid lane is even, and I think we look at the jungle. Decent advance for Kabaka. Yeah, look at the gold across the players. Particularly
Red Sun's trying to go for
I would say 10-minute Rift Trail back here. He's gone.
That's fine. I don't think they'll control where to spot Rek'Sai out. It was put too far back, and no.
Yeah, it's in the pixel, and they timed it when the red team was resetting. So as pro men are resetting, they just get the Rift Trail for free. That's a nice objective. I imagine it would be pretty hard to contest for the red side anyway. You have a versus the red side, but she's going for the crabs. I mean, great. Rek'Sai is very low going for this. So trying to finish him off quickly. Throws down the ultimate. Oh, forces the Lance to spy, but here's Manvich coming in on the one. Actually, a little caught up by himself. Gets burned down. Bot got a killing spree, but here comes Legend Cheater jumps in the pit. Gonna burn them down. Ankle is so weak, but Manvich is going across. Here's Flyer rolling up. Throws down the ultimate. Gonna land the stun. Legend Cheater's gonna try to fight his way through this. He's ignited. Use, which is not gonna be enough. And he's gonna get burned down by Manvich and a 3 for 2.
3 for 2, and that's kind of started with Kindred trying to go for that scuttle mark. But she should have known that Rek'Sai just finished.
Yeah, Rek'Sai really misplaying a bit along the early fight with the sense. I don't think really knew where Kindred was. Lost about 70% of her health before she even unburrowed. And then was given a couple auto attacks to E and then the ultimate. Basically forced the Kindred ult immediately, and her team was fast in the rotations. Flyer was already there in the fight. They're able to get the extra kill. And I mean, honestly, just getting one kill is not going to solo the game too hard, but you know, they'll take that. They get the kills onto the right side, onto LeBlanc. Helps them out, guys. Stop him from these bindings have actually really clutch from Flyer. I mean, it's not like necessarily going to win the lane off that, but he's just been hitting so many of these. There's really being a lot of pressure from the bot side. They're about 20 CS, they're smashing through these turret blades too. You know, they got a nice 1,000 gold lead. I'm curious if they would drop the Rift Herald actually. About half the time left on that. Another binding lands into a boomerang blade. Reese's getting so chunked out from these. He's gonna have to start channeling the recall. Reddick's gonna be coming back to lane. They're gonna be a little off sync on this. Yeah, there's Simmer Morgana. She's gonna keep this shove in. Yeah, she's gonna wait for the thresh. She knows that she's gonna miss a ton of CS if she and plates if she leaves. Throws out the Tron, throws out the Q, getting a little bit of trade damage. Just sitting on her tower trying to farm. Yeah, the lead for LeBlanc and Kai'Sa has grown pretty substantially. I think it's going to be a lot on these offside versus bot side teams. Yeah, here comes Kabaka. Reezy's extremely low, but a nice blade. Going up to Kai'Sa. Lands another hook. Morgana's not here. They're going to turn to one. Reezy gets the kill, but here's Exu. Manvich is in trouble too. He's getting fucking taken down here. That was just really uncoordinated play. Kabaka and Manvich trying to force way too hard. The meetings weren't pushed in. They didn't have the rest of the team. Legend Cheater actually did TP into that fight in the backside. They really didn't do that, but they're going to take this mountain back into 3. And the momentum saw this team towards purple men here. Yeah, very forced dive. I don't think they really knew where the Kindred was. They didn't know where XE was in that play, and if you're Rek'Sai, you have to know that. It's a very telegraphed ability. It's very hard for you to do that with the Thresh to play up. When he gets played, not able to get marked onto Kai'Sa.
No call from her bot lane. Wave wasn't pushed into town.
Not able to actually get there. It's very greedy. And then Manvich tries to save the play by burning down the Kai'Sa. She has her ultimate, just gets the shield, and then the rest of the team shows up. So, yeah, oh, Rhetoric looking, hook goes wide. The Black Shield does go on preemptively, but overall not too much. Dragon secured, and going pretty even here.
I always want to see how many marks Kindred has. And she
already has 5.
Already has 5.
She's the lead.
So now she's quite strong. For the magic number you're looking for.
Pain goes wide. Kabaka looking for the mid-lane play, but not find anything on it. And yeah, you have to feel like this game is starting to swing towards the red side. Yeah, Red Shield going down here as Red is opening up. I don't even know if they'll get a single charge on this. Yeah.
Why not?
They go for the 10-minute objective. Well, Flyer spotted here. Doesn't know that he's spotted. This immediately burned down. Takes the black shield. Exu gets the kill. And yeah, this Red Shell going to go to waste. And now it's Pearlman's turn to try to push down mid here.
Yeah, that was quite sad. Didn't know that the Thresh spotted her out with the sweeper, Thresh hook, combo chain, blade
I don't know if
into
had
the Ahri.
wards in their bush.
I don't believe they had any wards. Thresh just walked up, it was empty, and Slaughter was sitting there, and it was good for him.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like now game's starting to swing toward the best side. You have your Vladimir, you have your Kindred that's already, like I said, they're already scaling up on 3 members, and you know the Sivir is really far ahead actually on the blue side. Your Kingslayer Sivir is probably the strongest, well, the most farm champ in the map, but until she gets a lot of items, she's not going to match the power.
Kindred's top lane, possible lane power.
Yeah, go into the lane. I don't believe spotted.
Spotted out, but Malphite's playing a bit too
So
safe.
he's going in. Ledger Achiever's coming, but you know.
Kindred shifted her mark to Maokai. I believe that's what tipped him off. Oh,
Yeah, find the charm on Rex side. Very low, has to tunnel out. Oh, City is sitting on this ward. He's really low here. She's gonna have to walk out. But it feels like the right side power window is slowly closing around him as the rest of the momentum is strong. But now Naka goes in as Janet Kendrick. Not caught. Agor's getting absolutely shredded here. Gonna try to black survive, but I don't think he had any hope of getting out of that one. And Egg's using it good. Yeah, I think that was probably another mark for him. So this Kendrick's gonna be extremely strong.
Correct, yes. That was a very good play from Vladimir. Pushed right under the ulti. Didn't take tower out, just kept chasing down Maokai. But apparently Sivir also got a trade kill.
They did actually take down the Ahri. It looked like out, but it might have even finding or something like that. So it really is, it feels like the Black Shield and the Sivir. There's no way that's hitting. Yeah, it seems like it's really hard to actually coordinate those. That's something you have to work on in some of these more extended fights. As the game goes on, it's not layering those spell shields on top of each other, because doing that is a very quick way to get hit by a critical skill shot later in these fights.
Well, we see Kaisa having on the point item. How to go into the Storm Razor Rage Blade build. Allow her to not evolve both her Q and her E. So that's her big power spike. But currently Sivir with the IE, much stronger. It's a ward over and River gets spotted.
You're gonna have to look. I really think for this side after these sort of plays have gone sideways a lot, they're gonna look for just all the Sivir. Like she has most of their farms. Oh, and I believe Kenny could have got that. No, he didn't actually. But unfortunately, Fly goes down. He's chosen trying to fight in the back of the lead. Rhetoric in front of the box. Here's Agor, the TP flank. They're gonna try to look for it. Gets distorted. Actually, base out the lands for spite, and there's. Here's Legend 2-9, he's stronger. The charm does land on the man, Trigger's gonna take it down. And really unfortunate there for Kingslayers. Their support goes down. They try to turn the fight, but it's just they don't have the damage. Sivir, without LeBlanc, as soon as she goes down there, it's just over. I mean, they really need the Sivir Ricochet to go through these fights. Legend finds the Chosen, finds Kabaka, and the heals is gonna go out, gonna disengage. He's gonna heal so much. There's no grievous kills. He's so strong right now in this way.
Got the Sivir Social, I believe the miss of that ulti. Got that down, she forced the Tower as well. Gone to Pokemon.
King Pearlman take down the tower with ease. And they've solidly swung momentum. They got about a 2.5k gold lead right here. Several marks on the Kindred. She's already got 2 items. And she's just she's got that Crochet shard. I imagine it's gonna be going into Rapid Fire Phantom Dancer.
I believe that's 6 marks on the Kindred. She needs
Just one more and
one
she'll
more,
get
and it's her second
another range upgrade.
range and damage right away. It looks like they're trying to set around Dragonf right now, clearing out some wards. Kindred and Thresh heading straight towards it. Same with Ahri. So spotted out by that blue ward.
Yeah,
Kindred just starting it.
Helping anyway. That's good. So I think their goal is basically just to combine the Sivir. They'll try to get a really good pick onto the Kindred and blow her up before she can ult, and then just rely on the Sivir. We'll probably get Executioners pretty soon. I mean, I believe Damage is building towards Morellos here. They all have some sorts of healing reduction, but we've seen like just team up play against 2 people. Russian team are going for a Death Cap. He's going to be healing for so much. And there's all those Morellos and Executioners there. It's going to be really hard to deal with. Manda's going to base check into him. Rose will cool down the flash. He's not going to really get him enough distance, but
Hard Q, not enough damage, but forces the flash. Now let's Legend Achiever just shoving top lane was good.
yeah, I just chunky on the damage. And LeBlanc is going to be struggling to find picks, and going to struggle to find picks. I mean, a lot of these members on the right side, they're squishy, but she's not far ahead enough to just blow them up. Without being able to use a lot of their defensive abilities. With R, you can sort of dash away. Kindred can ult, and Kaisa can ult. But the other members, like the front line, can get the blind pool. It's going to be hard to actually blow up a lot of these players when you're only on one item. I don't know
So that will make this 7.
even stronger.
And if you look at the vision real quickly, that side, River Vision, blue side's mostly been pushed back.
You can start on the blue side, there's no way of really going like this. I don't think they'll check that time. The Kai'Sa doesn't have the Rage Blade, but
But possibly check it.
they're going to look for it. They're going to see this with the cover sense, but I don't think they can get in. Let me see if throw them off. Shoot the Baron going over.
Just the threat of Legend Achiever, something
So they're trying to hit the spike. Let's see the low, but the low comes down onto the Sivir. That's the main game. But oh wow, what a really nice turn here. They're going to actually take straight kills here. Kabaka's one. Janet Kendrick barely going to get out of his execute. But Kabaka's looking for it. He just gets charmed up. He gets blown up. He's too far away from his team. Actually, just blows the flash. That's really unfortunate. Exit are trying to kill the Storm. He's jumping in. Despite no team going down the line for spite. So many people are burning down slowly. He jumps out of it and gets a boomerang. And that was some greedy plays by both junglers.
Greedy plays. Kindred missed time when her ultimate expired. Jumped out of it before, tried to get the third proc on her 3 hits, and completely messed up that combo. And now there's only one member left.
Yeah, they unfortunately only on Janet Kendrick. It was a really good turn from Kingslayers, but I think they overforced trying to go for that other kill, wasted a lot of wasted his flash, and pretty much died for nothing. But then XU, once that happened, thought he could win the 1v3 and jump back in. I don't think he's on the same page as the rest of his team, but
yes,
they do get the Baron, they do get that global gold, and they still have one buff to push with. So we'll have to see what they actually get on the Baron power play.
and it does take off Baron for I believe one of the issues was that Legend Achiever, his ult was immediately passed out just a couple more seconds before. And if his ulti
does have the death cap.
It would have, I believe, with his ulti up, it would have been possibly the difference.
Yeah, when we see he chosen continuing these kills pretty well. Does put that Phantom Dancer there, trying to keep a little safer. I believe looks like he's going for the Essence Reaver now. Yeah, I know you're more CDR there.
Kaisa has her 2 item power spike now, so she had to evolve Q and E.
And XU was actually finished that rapid fire cannon, so he's actually got a ton of range. Oh, Janet Kendrick almost caught out, gonna dodge the chain.
Good attitude, escape.
The binding goes wide, so he's just gonna walk out.
I want to keep her safe. He's also holding Baron buff line, but they have Vlad still pushing bot lane. You know that he wouldn't want to go anywhere. The possibly 1v2 if as well. They're just trying to siege down the last outer turret. The pause lane might be setting up for Dragon now, I believe.
Yeah, it's interesting that they're not really getting a lot off of this Baron. I do only have one buff. They're not really finishing off too much here. Yeah, they're going to have that Vladimir split. He's up significantly in CS over his lane opponent. But a lot of the advantage lies on XP. Up 2k gold on his opposing laner. So is the top lane actually. But yeah, look the big advantage for Kingslayers on their lane. Significantly ahead. Hurts the flash and fire actually.
But at least they get the turret, and now they have Dragon Power.
So they're gonna fight the chunk. They're not gonna tanky to find the point, but they're not gonna get target. Blood Achiever keeps going in there. Kabaka by himself in his own back. They're not gonna actually finish him off goes down. And Blood Achiever achieves damage and force the ult, but it's so late in the fight, they've already lost 3. And man, that was actually just a disastrous attempt. Try to go with the TP flank, but Kabaka goes in by himself. Legend Achiever jumps in. There's so much damage, zones off the Sivir, and he blows up the targets at the line.
They said it's 3 back on members, and they have to back off.
Bandage works down Breezy. Actually, the kill. Janet Kendrick flashing forward, damage low. Breezy also to the tower with the killer instinct's gonna take that kill. Doesn't. Oh, actually does go down. The heat up tower shot burns him. So actually stalls out a little bit of that red side push there. I feel like it's a little greedy to go in there. Probably gonna finish that.
But at least the red side gets Dragon, that's great. And have Ocean that's inspired by especially when server queues and balances. Especially with also with that mountain, that's really going to help them when it comes to trying to get another Baron. They could try to bait around Baron, but looking at this team, it doesn't seem like they want to kind of dance around Baron per se, and just want to go straight into the
They do now have about a 5 people group here, so they have been able to grow that lead. The Chosen actually finished the execution this year, so Legend Keeper isn't going to be as unkillable, but it's still going to be really hard to actually get him down here. They do have the 2 healing reduction items.
Now.
But Kai'Sa is going to continue to get stronger. Kindred is going to continue to get stronger.
Kindred still has a 200 gold bounty on top of her head. So that just shows that she's been farming and still been getting kills. So Kindred is pretty strong.
It's just the Rex size is going to be
10
a lot.
stacks. That's a second or third, technically, because 4,
Yeah.
7, and 10.
It's a very strong Kindred. I feel like they just have to blow her up before she loses. She's going to be relying on the block coming to the flash and knock her out. Oh, but Manfish gets hooked out here. He's going to certainly be burned out. And that kill's going to go to Galen Kendrick. Legend Cheater trying to look for something in the ball and throws on the ultimate. Acor's actually feeling tanky with the Abyssal Mask.
And does a good chunk of damage with that.
So I can just pretty healing reduction now. I don't think there's any way you can actually burn down Legend
I don't think
Cheater
he can
here.
burn down Legend Cheater, but I can probably keep him off.
Well, he's walking little dummy. He's going to burn down another Mark. Rex who gets the kill. The binding does go down onto the Kendrick. He's going to die. The Lantern's fight too late to actually stage here. That's a little bit... I feel like that was a little bit of a misplay there, but Agor actually just flashes away.
The
That
power
was,
cube. I think if the power cube landed, I might have actually.
yeah, I don't think the Tide's blood is actually going to hit him though. I don't think you need to burn a slash there, especially where he's right now. He's going to have to recall. He can just come back. And it was good of him to get that pick on his Kendrick. Damage not coming back up, and not just like binding onto Breezy.
Have been pretty on point.
But the rest of his team there to keep it safe. But yeah, it's going to really be on his spot lane to carry this game.
So Flyer has been having some good plays and bad plays. With that last play where Ari got the pick
Igor,
off.
he's actually going to the right. He is coming, forcing the pool out of Legend Cheater. And he's just going to walk away. No healing reduction. He runs really fast, and the rest of the team's being cut off. Exu is here. Igor's realizing he might not be the spot he wants to be. He's going to get the group to get burned down. Legend Cheater gets that, and that was just a little unfortunate. Not knowing where the rest of the Purple Men were. So, he thinks that he has the team coming, but they get cut off by Exu. They get cut off by Breezy, and then Igor realizes Tinder just comes in and collects that kill.
Yeah, the Purple Man were walking down river already, so soon they saw Knockout going all in with the Righteous Glory. They just started rotating down by Kindle, Kingslayers, a bit too late with the Fed, Kindred, can't really want to go.
Kindred actually going for the Lord Dominic's here too. Just say, I'm gonna shred this mouth guy. No, they're gonna go on to Baron. Yeah, it's not spotted. Pink Ward has that kind of stuff. This is gonna be unprotected. Another mark for Kindred. And it just seems like the red team, they got an 8k gold with the Pearl Men. It's good, the Sabres continue to grow her advantage over the Kai'Sa individually, but all this global gold coming
The
down.
Kindred's level 16, that's just their team fighting is so strong, and they're just forcing a team fight with Baron Buff straight down mid.
The Saber does have 3 items, but it's just not close enough to where she needs to be to actually be able to carry this. Even if she does do that. Oh man, LeBron thinks she has the thing, but she's the one who's forced to ultimate away. And this Vladimir is actually...
Well, I think the last show,
Oh, Coffee needs another charm. Does barely get out. Trying to turn this pretty low, and the hit just bring back. But look at how much damage that actually does to Agor.
yeah, and actually Agor,
He has no armor. He's using Viking Voice. He has a little bit of armor. But he doesn't have a significant amount to keep him safe from that Kindred burn.
especially Kindred with the Lord Dominic's regard, that's going to
Barely dodged, yeah. Dodged out of that one. Honestly, even getting hit by the binding Kindred is just going to burn the ultimate first. I mean, it's really hard to actually just kill that champion without any lockdown.
Though again, the Kindred was alone, only Thresh with her rest of the damage on the team was
Trying to look for a pick in this bush. They're not spotted out here. I don't think I don't think Kingslayers is actually going to check that.
I don't think so either. It looks like the Pokemon is something else again for that streak. And once again, looking at the vision, especially during that push, the purple men had much deeper vision than Kingslayers barely have any.
Another Ocean Drake, this makes the siege really unbearable.
Yeah. And then we have Kindred with the dancing well, helping protect others from LeBlanc Poe. That was the first LeBlanc chain, so that she can get offered additional items.
Now there's a lot of finding really wide, it's quite really hard, but it's not so wide. I feel that they were just absolutely destroyed by it. Yes, Anthony's trying to why are looking for something that brings us to just get stunned up. He chose not to get taken down. 5-1 in favor of the purple men. They're going to take this game.
That's a game. Yeah, the right side trying to come in, but
Try to take the fight. They're too far behind. They slowly basically fled out, unable to really mount.
they make that job. Have to go left side off that play.
Yeah, about Valiant effort from the bot lane of Kingslayers there, but it's really just not enough. Kindred fled. They're so huge, and it's just going to be. There's not anything you can do to get through that, Vlad. The Kindred's just going to shred your front line once it with the Kaisa.
It got to the point where Ari actually sold her glacial augment item, if I'm correct. It just went straight back to damage.
Sold the GLP.
Just went Luden's echoes, like screw
I think
this.
that's a little bit of a,
Yes.
just do it for the memes. But yeah, unfortunately, as the
Sever
game goes
couldn't
on,
carry on.
as more, they get multiple Barons, they get so many marks in the Kindred. You see
Sever
the
even had QSS, and yet that wasn't enough for her. Like she just gets
with
bursted down.
Morgana, it just doesn't. You can't QSS damage. The
You
Kaisa
can't spell shield
just
auto
jumps on
attacks.
top of you. The Vlad jumps on top of you. They just actually just burn you down.
Yeah.
The Rek'Sai LeBlanc just sort of get outscaled, and the Maokai really never able to get to the point where he's tanky enough to withstand all these damage threats. And there's just not the front line for Sivir to put out sustained DPS. So Purplemen take it in 30 minutes. We'll advance to the next round of the winners bracket here.
I wouldn't say it was a clean game, but it was definitely a fast pace. They pushed it, they took their advantages. They might have overextended, but
I mean, they weren't winning hard in the early game against the Rek'Sai, which is understandable, but when it came time for their comp to come online, they came online.
Hit their stride.
Take the W.